We don't know that.
All right, if I could have everyone stand, please, and do the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. So it is 6:04, bringing the meeting together. I'm going to call for a roll call from the Budget Committee, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gattro.
Larry Brown.
Danielle.
Danielle Marie.
Paul Carrier.
Peg Hurst.
And Humphrey Williams. So we have a quorum. With us tonight also, here in the building, we got Ernie Kreveling is here. When we talk about the town warrants, I know Paul Steer is here, and Doug Shute is here. Steve Gagnon is also there, and of course, we've got folks at home on Zoom, which I will, as we need it. I know, Nate, you guys are all there. Any other questions that come up? What we are going to start with tonight is we're going to start on the school warrants. We've already gone through past the budget itself, but we're going to start with the warrant itself. Up here, I didn't make extra copies of the agenda, so up here we're going to start, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone at home understands that. So we're going to start with the school warrant, and then we're going to go into an amendment for the town budget and then the town warrants. Our goal tonight is to get the vote ready because our public hearing is on the 16th. That Saturday, and it'll be starting at 9 a.m. with the town, and I'll address that more right after the school warrant information. So, any questions before we get started? All right, hearing nothing, I'm going to bring up the school warrants first. And I know, Nate, you were the first one to tell me to disregard the date on the front cover. I never changed that because we don't know what, I do want to address something, Ernie, we talked about that. We're not sure if the town vote is actually going to take place as normally scheduled, because right now before the House, it already passed the Senate today to move the voting out. And if it passes the House, then we will be, we don't know the exact time frame, but we could be voting any time from April to July, depending on what comes out of that due to the pandemic. So we'll know more once that comes through, whether the House passes it, and I would expect that that's going to take place. One of the questions that came up earlier, Paul, you asked, what happens to the people that are elected? According to what was out there, they're going to stay in their positions until such time as replaced following the election. Just like we would normally do in March, you'd have your transition at your next meeting. Well, that'll take place after the vote, whenever that takes place. So people will stay in the positions. Okay? All right. With that in mind, let's get right to the warrants for the school. Of course, the first, Article 1 is the election of officers, and that'll all get adjusted as far as when we figure out what the date's going to be. Article 2, we voted on that already as a budget committee, and the numbers that we approved are in there. So I would like to move to Article 3, which would be the very first warrant that we need to discuss, although we did have the vote. I'm going to take the information from, I think it was, we had it was 7-0-0 for our vote. I didn't put the numbers in when we approved the budget.
Should we read the article, Mr. Chairman?
I'm going to read the article. I just want, and because of that, right, Bob, we'll do that. So the Article 2, shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant, or as amended by a vote of the first session, excuse me, for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $11,211,713.64. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $11,234,752.13, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Milton School District or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 4013 10 and 16, Roman numerals 10 and 16, to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Note, warrant Article 2, the operating budget, does not include appropriations in any other warrant article. The total operating budget will be offset by federal grants, state and local revenues of $4,421,704, leaving a net budget amount of $6,790,009.64. So then it says RSA 32.5, Roman numeral 3, the amount of $4,421,704 will not be raised by taxation. Now, the school board recommended this appropriation 3-2, and as I stated, we already had a vote on this, and it was 7-0-0. So, are we all set with that? Okay. So, Article 3. Shall the Milton School District vote to create a capital reserve fund for the purpose of purchasing and maintaining maintenance vehicles for the school district, and to name the school board as agents to expend this fund, and further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to be placed in this fund. This is a special warrant article appropriation. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0, with an estimated tax impact of 1 penny per thousand. The Budget Committee recommends this appropriation, and that's what we're gonna vote on. So, do I have a motion? Peg?
I will make a motion to approve Article 3, the capital reserve fund for the purpose of purchasing and maintaining maintenance vehicles.
All right, so I have a motion on the floor from Peg Hurd to approve Article 3. I have a second from Danielle Marique. It is open for discussion. Mr. Brown.
Yes, I have an awkward point to raise. I remember when the town garage was unable to move forward and repair because I had a warrant and we lost. Article 3 says that the purpose of the capital reserve fund is to purchase and maintain maintenance vehicles. And I just want to make sure that the wording of this does not block the district out from the purchase of these vehicles and other sources together.
Okay?
What was his last part?
That this doesn't lock the school out of the purchase of other vehicles. Right, Larry?
Yeah. And what happens if it's there?
Okay, Doug, do you want to touch that?
Yeah, capital reserve.
Why don't you come on up? Yeah, come on up this way. That way the public can hear. Please, thank you.
Doug Shute, Milton School Board. That is a capital reserve fund for that pickup truck with the plow. That's what that is for.
Okay.
Nothing else.
All right. But Larry's other comment is he wants to make sure that this isn't going to lock you out of any other issues in the event this passes. So, Peg?
I believe we also talked about the big dump truck or whatever, because that's also being used by the maintenance department, so, and that's like 100 years old.
That would be included in that. Peg is correct.
Okay, so it's basically, and to make sure, it's the school's 2 maintenance vehicles.
Correct.
All right.
That is correct.
That address that, Larry? Okay, no, I know, I want to make sure. Do we have any other comments? Peg? No, that's fine.
Yeah, one of the things I want to say is that we have requested through a warrant article in the last couple of years, and it's always been rejected. The town, very nicely, when they replaced one of their vehicles, or several of them, gave us a plow truck that did not last very long. I mean, it was leaking oil, plowing forward, backing up, and it would stall. It would take maybe 10 minutes to get it to start again. This year, we were very lucky that we had another plow truck actually donated to us, but
Yeah, it's still a used vehicle. You don't know how long it's going to
Right.
last. And plow vehicles do take a toll as they're working. So, no, understood.
okay.
Any other comments or questions? Yes. At home, I got you.
That's Bob Adams. Yeah, I just wanted to state, how you doing tonight? Yeah, I just wanted to state our current vehicles, the 1 ton that has the sander on it as well, along with the plow, is vintage 2010. And the donated pickup truck, a 3/4 ton that we have, is 2004.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Any other comments? Jan, that wasn't a comment, you're just adjusting, right? Okay, just making sure. Mr. Brown?
Presuming that Bob Adams can hear me, I just wanted to compliment him, being in charge of building and grounds for the elegant, and code compliant downcast lighting that is on the district office and the side of Fulton Newton, rather than blasting sideways into your eyes as you drive the highway. Thank you.
Did you hear that, Bob? All right, thanks. Any other comments related to this article? All right, hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Yep, so Lisa Gautreaux, aye. Larry Brown? Danielle?
Danielle Marie, aye.
Paul Carrier, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion passes. And we are at 7, what is it, 1, 2, 3, I want to make sure, 4, 7-0, yep. All right, the next article is Article 4, and I'm going to bring it up higher on the screen here for everyone. So, shall the Milton School District vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to purchase library media for the Newt High School and library? This is a special warrant article appropriation. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0, with an estimated tax impact of 1 penny per thousand. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, Article 4, the sum of $5,000 for library media for the new high school and library.
All right, do I have a second? Okay, I got a second from Mr. Brown. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve Article 4, the sum of $5,000 to raise and appropriate for the library media for the Newt High School and library. And I have a second from Larry Brown. It is open for discussion. Peg?
We put this in every single year, and just so that people realize it is separate from the actual high school, it is buying, media books for the actual library, so.
And that library is open to the public?
Yes, it is open to the public, so this also takes care of providing books to the public.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, that one was easy. Hearing none, I'll call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gautreaux, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Danielle Marie, aye.
Paul Carrier, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so the motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Next up is Article 5. And Article 5 reads, to avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2021, and raise and appropriate up to the sum of $50,000 to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the education of educationally disabled children, established in 2011. Note, warrant Article 5 will not result in additional taxation. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0, and it's now up to the budget committee. Do I hear a motion on the floor? Peg?
I will make a motion to increase the unreserved fund balance or surplus for the education of educationally disabled children of $50,000.
Do I have a second? I got a second from Danielle Marie. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the sum of $50,000 to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the education of educationally disabled children, which was established in 2011. It was seconded by Danielle Marie. It is open for discussion. Do you have any comments or questions? Peg?
I just want to say that this year we have extraordinary special ed expenses because of some students who have moved into the district. And at our last meeting, the school board voted to take out up to $250,000 from our balance now, if needed, so that we are not in the hole at the end of the year. So I just want people to know that because we still have, I think it's like 60,000
In the fund.
in the fund right now, so 266, okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Claudine?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that
Yes, yeah. And our special ed budget really is mandated by the children's IEPs, and, you know, legally, we have to comply with their IEPs. So the students that we had come in this year, we cannot handle within the district.
so are there additional funding?
We do get quite a bit of money. Rob, maybe you can answer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Rob Quay's here. Rob, can you, address that?
Yeah, I think the
Quar,
question
I know.
was,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take place. Rob Quar, go ahead, Rob.
yeah, I think the question was, are there additional sources of funding that help us with special education?
Yes, to help offset some of the costs.
Yeah, so that is the case. We get a grant every year that comes from the IDEA Act. And so that does help us offset unexpected costs. There is also something called Special Education Aid, which is a state program that helps us offset costs of students who are significantly above the average cost for a student, for what a student, the average student cost is. And so we have to do a lot of work in documenting services and all that good stuff. But we are able to get partially compensated or, recouped for some of those major outputs of cost, for sure. I still think there's going to be a major shortfall though, and so I do anticipate using some of that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you want to address I know you've got, it appears, Nate, and you can help this too. I haven't got the budget right in front of me for this year, but it does appear that there's a shortfall this year alone. What's the amount on that, What's it projected to be at this point for a shortfall?
Give me 1 second. I worked that out. I can find that.
Okay.
It is not covered. I'm looking at the grant report.
Yep.
And from 7/20 to 9/22, IDEA is 107,000 budgeted.
Okay.
And we are well over that in the
Right.
budget.
I'm actually gonna.
Okay, as of the end of November, which I know we're gonna have the latest one, we were,
That's what I was gonna pull up.
$8,158 minus.
We're negative, but,
Negative
but,
8,000,
okay.
yeah.
And that's in November.
Yeah.
All right. We've got it, Rob. I think we're all
Okay.
set. Thank you, though. All right, so, and to clarify, this $50,000 goes into that surplus so that any of the any of the expenses that go over and above what's currently in the budget, this helps offset those costs. So, any other comments, questions? All right, hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
Okay, Bird, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion passes 7-0 to approve the $50,000 to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the education of educationally disabled children, which was established in 2011. All right, next article up is Article 6. So to avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2021 and raise and appropriate up to the sum of $50,000 to be placed in the Milton School District Building Maintenance, Repair, Renovation, and Capital Project Reserve Fund established in 2005 for the purpose of repairing and maintaining school buildings. Note, warrant Article 6 will not result in additional taxation. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0. Do I have a motion on the floor? Peg?
I, recommend that we approve Article 6 to add $50,000 from the surplus to be placed in the fund balance for Milton School District Building Maintenance, Repair, Renovation, and Capital Projects Reserve Fund.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Brown, yeah, Mr. Brown got his hand up. So we have a motion on the floor from Peg Hurd to approve the $50,000 from the fund balance to be placed in the Milton School District Building Maintenance, Repair, Renovation, and Capital Project Reserve Fund for the purpose of repairing, maintaining school buildings, and it was seconded by Larry Brown. It is now open for discussion. Do we have any comments?
Just for clarification, that means the Damon House as well, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you,
That
Dean.
means the Damon House as well?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. All right, so that, and I don't know if you heard that, just asking if that included the Damon House as well, so yeah. Thanks, Nate. Any other comments or questions? Bob, do you want to address anything on this? Are you all set at this point?
I would like to add a little bit for the benefit of the audience. We have
Thank you.
used this fund to replace one of the boilers of two at the elementary school that we use for heating. It's been used for many roof projects, both for sealing and replacing roofs. It's also been used for asbestos and lead removal projects. So I wanted the audience to know that. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Bob, thank you. Any other comments?
What is the plan for this coming year, or did I miss that?
What?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Bob, Danielle Marique was asking if there are any specific plans for this coming year. In other words, projects that this is going to be applied towards.
The one project that we're looking at for next summer right now is replacing the fire alarm system that's already been approved and funded. So there isn't a project at this point in time that we have prioritized, near term, within the next few months.
All right, so this is more or less a contingency plan for anything that may come up.
Correct. Because, I mean, a large boiler, like a new, I don't know, it could be in the range of a $50,000, $60,000 investment to replace that. So some of the things end up being pretty expensive. We continue to use different rooms that were not designed for what we're using them for. Both for one of the examples would be the partner program at the elementary school. Another example with that is the current art room at the high school actually was designed as a science lab. We don't use it as such because we have, the 2006 edition labs that have done work. So we have, delved at looking at redesigning of some spaces. So we've been quite distracted. You can well imagine as far as facilities team this whole last year with COVID. So there are things that are sitting in the background that we'll probably want to bring forward in our capital plan.
Do you know what the current balance is? Nate, do you have anything on the current balance on this?
Nate gave that to me. The current balance is $137,875.44.
Okay. Yeah, Danielle's got the book. She just hit me up with the same point, so thank you. All right, so this is to add to that, and I guess, now, do you guys have a listing of potential projects at all, Bob?
I just wanted to say before we left that subject, Kevin said that number. We do have an overage that we need to figure out where money's going to come from. for the air handle of the project that we finished at the elementary school. So that potentially could come out of this.
All right. Doug Shu?
The other project is down the road, is we gotta do something about the Damon House, at the outside.
Well, that's kind of what that's kind of where I was hoping we would
Down the
have.
road.
Yeah, okay.
I do not know.
All right. But Lisa's, hang on a second, but don't turn off yet, Doug.
I just want to know what the Damon House is.
Okay, if you'd address what the
Oh, okay, yeah.
okay.
What is it gonna be?
No, what was it? I didn't, yes,
Yes,
the
we do.
SEO, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know it was called the Damon House.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and it's good to address it, because there are people at home, they're gonna go, what is the same type of thing? I know.
Sure.
Okay?
The other thing, and I don't know if anybody, and Doug, you may want to jump in since you're involved, but the
Get your steps.
schoolhouse that the school district owns, that is on Governor's Road, but is on somebody else's property, that all of a sudden, we got notice that it's ours again. Something happened and it's
Where is it?
back to us. I have no clue, Lisa, I have not gone up to.
I live on Governor, so I'm just trying to figure out,
By News Chapel, the little white building,
on New.
It's on the opposite side, yeah.
That's New Road.
Oh, okay, the other
Yep.
side, all right.
we're gonna be dealing with it on the 13th, we got all the deed material, we've got
Yeah.
our attorney. We've got a big discussion, make sure.
It's actually on,
Make
that's
a
new.
determination what we're gonna do with that building.
Okay,
Right,
thank you.
so that may cost money, I guess, is what I'm getting at is.
Well, there's no doubt that there's a lot of maintenance for the schools and everything else, and Mr. Brown,
One, probably more information than you wanted, that area that used to be as heavily populated, and a center of people, under the name of Goodwinville, by, the new, chapel. Second point is that this particular, Article 6, from the non-listing facilities and the list, is close in concept to the year-by-year request for road repair funds. Because you don't know which road is going to go, but you know that you are smart to have that buffer for both the expected and unexpected expense. And the buildings are the closest thing school has to a road.
okay?
I'm in the choir.
No. All right, are there any other comments or questions? Okay, so the motion on the floor for Article 6, I'm gonna call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Eric Brown, aye.
Hillary, aye.
Bob Carrier, aye.
Peg Heard, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion passes 7-0 to raise and appropriate from the fund balance $50,000 to be placed in the Milton School District Building Maintenance, Repair, Renovation, and Capital Project Reserve Fund. All right. Next up is Article 7. So, to avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2021, and raise and appropriate up to the sum of $15,000 to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the School Bus Trust Fund, which was established in 1993. Note, warrant Article 7 will not result in additional taxation. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0. Do I have a motion on the floor? Peg?
I move that we approve Article 7 to raise and appropriate up to $15,000 from the surplus, to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the school bus trust fund established in 1993.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Danielle Marie. So the motion on the floor from Peg Heard is to approve Article 7 to raise and appropriate up to $15,000 from the fund balance to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the School Bus Trust Fund, which was established in 1993, seconded by Danielle Marique. It is now open for discussion. Do you have any comments or questions? Okay. It's easy.
Just because I've given off numbers for everything else, there was just under $6,000.
Just under $6,000 in the reserve right now?
41 cents less than.
Okay. And I thank you, because Peg's got my book, so,
Yeah, I'm looking at open up to that page.
yeah. All right, so, yeah, currently there's just over $6,000 in there, so this would be added to that. Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote. Starting with Lisa.
Lisa Guttrow, aye.
Ray Brown, aye.
Danielle Marie, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
Take her aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion passes 7-0 to approve Article 7 to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $15,000 to be placed in the expendable trust fund for the school bus trust fund, which was established in 1993. All right, next article up is Article 8, and it is the last article on the floor. So Article 8 says, to avoid the need to raise additional taxes, shall the Milton School District use unreserved fund balance surplus available on July 1st, 2021, raise and appropriate up to the sum of $10,000 from that source to be placed in the Milton School District Technology Expendable Trust Fund established in 2007. Note, warrant Article 8 will not result in additional taxation. The school board recommends this appropriation 5-0. Do I have a motion on the floor? Peg? Yeah.
To avoid the need, I'm sorry, I'm reading again.
You can read it again, yeah.
I make a motion to approve Article 8 to add $10,000 from our surplus to be placed in the Milton School District Technology Expendable Trust Fund.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Danielle Marique. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to raise and appropriate up to a sum of $10,000 from the fund balance to be placed in the Milton School District Technology Expendable Trust Fund established in 2007 and has been seconded by Danielle Marique. All right, it is open for discussion. Comments or questions? Peg?
I will just make the comment that we do have a rotating system going to replace computers within the district, and I do believe Mr. Humphrey can attest to the fact that the last time we were here and did not have the right setup for his computer, complained highly about the computer from the school.
I will attest to the fact that there is definitely a need to upgrade computers here at the system. I'm using my laptop here, and if it wasn't for Back Bay giving me adapters, we wouldn't even been able to connect tonight without using some of the older technology. So there is a definite need to improve technology, and everyone at home understands that technology moves pretty quickly. So any additional comments or questions? $10,900 is currently in that fund balance, so this would be added to that. I do know, and I want to address the fact that there have been some upgrades, obviously, with the remote learning and that, and there's going to be more need because of the fact of the way school systems are currently being worked. So.
But a lot of that was grants and.
Grants help pay for that, but as we move forward, there's still going to be more and more needs because we don't know where we're going to be. Yep.
We are still waiting, maybe Jan can jump in on this one, but the last board meeting, we were still waiting for the delivery of quite a few computers through a grant and plus from the operating budget for this remote learning.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like people are using the computer that you were using that,
Yeah.
but they haven't been delivered yet, have they?
Did you
They
catch
have
that,
not,
Jan?
they have not been delivered, and we still do not have an expected delivery date.
How many computers are we talking about on that?
410 Chromebooks.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big need, obviously. Of course, now that has been funded, so.
Yes, they've been paid for, they just haven't been received.
No, I just want to make sure that's clear for the public too.
Yeah, they were shipped from China, and I guess the first company that they were ordered from, the United States is not accepting shipments from that particular company, so I don't know if they went to New York or California, wherever they went, and they were shipped back.
Okay.
And then they had to be reordered, and now it's been, yep, okay, yep, next, okay, yep.
Oh, there's
So
no
here it
doubt
is
there's all kinds of
January, and they were supposed to be here originally in September, so
Okay.
crazy.
Nate, I'm gonna address, what else is on that? I know there was some additional, you had some additional notes on the budget and dealing with, technology changes too. Is this coming, is any of that coming from this as well? This isn't going, or is this isn't to address server issues and things like that, is it?
It's all encumbered. It's all inclusive. There are some things we tried to embed in the budget. For example, a server for UNA for SAU.
Okay. But this technology expendable trust fund, that wasn't really what that piece was for, though. This is just the surplus for more of the computer needs, is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Danielle Marie, aye.
Bob Carrier, aye.
Craig Hurd, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the Article 8 passes 7-0 to raise and appropriate up to $10,000 from the surplus to be placed in the Milton School District Technology Expendable Trust Fund. That is the last of the articles. Before I close this out, are there any other comments or questions that need to be addressed? Mr. Steer, Paul?
Just a quick thing. 8 warrant articles, we really tried this year, I know that's.
Hey, Paul, can you do me a favor, Paul, just come over? It's hard to.
People know on the school board, and it's kind of a pet peeve with me with the warrant articles. Having so many every year on top of everything else, so this year, we got it down to 8 warrant articles, and out of those 8 warrant articles, we have 2 warrant articles at $1,000. So I think the school board really did their due diligence this year. I just want to let them know we fought hard for this year to get it where it needed to be.
No, I thank you, Paul. I also want to address the fact that the Budget Committee, and we'll be talking about it with the town as well, asked the school board and the school administration to find a way to make sure that we came in with a bottom line budget that was below the default. And we have succeeded in doing that. So, and I applaud the actions that have been taken by the school board and from the administration to make sure that we meet that criteria this year. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we are all set with the school warrant. Thank you very much, everyone. Next up on our agenda is going to be Peg.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's waving.
Oh, waving. Sorry. Thank you, folks. All right, so next up on our agenda, I was trying to figure out where you were going with that, is going to be an amendment, and I'm going to bring up the budget for the school, for the town. I sent out to everybody, if I could get everyone's attention, please. I sent out to everyone, the contract in dealing with MS4 cleanup. Ms. Krebling presented that to me. I've got that out to you guys in the amount of $59,600. We have been working on this project knowing that this was coming for a number of years now. With that in mind, we had approved the budget. We had approved a bottom line budget with the sewer of $4,525,019 at our last meeting. I am looking to make an amendment to that under the town administrator, and up here on the screen and what you guys have before you is to add the $59,600 to the town administrator's contract line. I'm going to bring that up and show everyone here where that goes in. I did make an adjustment to ours just to show what the difference was, but what we had for a line item on that was $87,281 for the town administrator contract services. This is this is not only an increase to the proposed budget, but it is an increase because of the contract to the default. So it will not change the fact that we did come in at $8,170 below the default budget, even with this included. So I'm looking to find out if we have a motion on the floor to make an adjustment to our proposal. Peg?
I will make a motion to approve the addition of $59,000 for the contract for the MS, whatever.
Okay, MS4 is $59,600, right?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion from Peg Hurd to approve the increase of $59,600 to the town administrator contract services line. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Brown. So the motion on the floor is open for comments, questions. Peg?
I will be very honest, I mean, I have no problem approving this, but I guess my concern is that looking at the contract, it was dated November 20th, and we didn't know anything about it until, what, 3 days ago, when you sent it out to us. So, I guess my question is,
What was the delay?
what was the delay, and why was it not at least brought forward that it might be coming, or it is coming, or we're looking at it?
Okay. So,
All right.
Ernie Krebling's here for that.
That's okay, you know, when I started here in 2019, one of the things we had identified was this MS4 permit, which is an EPA regulation. It stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, so MS4, and it has to do with regulating and measuring any kind of pollutants that get or water from drainage off of the highway to the different outfalls. And it's a permit that the town is behind on by 3 years. And we have been working on this, trying to figure out how we're going to get caught up with the staffing that we've got. And we finally went out and worked through CPS and got a proposal from Geo Insight. And it took us that long to get it done. I mean, we have been talking about it over the past 8 months or so. I apologize if we just don't get about it until we just got it from the chair. But again, it was dated November.
And again, it would have been nice, and I'll address it as well. It would have been nice to have had it before we took our vote back in November. I mean, obviously, MS4 is a necessity because it is the stormwater runoff that goes into everything and into the river. So we have to meet those obligations. It's just the timeliness of it that makes it hard to go back and re-amend. So fortunately, we're able to get it done here tonight, where our public hearing is the 16th. So we need to make sure we get this ready. So thank you, Ernie. Any other comments or questions?
Thank you, Ernie.
Yes. All right, so we have if there's no other comments or questions, we have the motion on the floor to add the $59,600. It was, by the way, has already been added to the default budget because that comes from the town, but it is to add the $59,600 to the budget committee's budget proposal for the line item under the town administrator contract services. If there's, Mr. Brown.
For clarity, would the chair please review the relationship of the presumptive new operating budget compared to the new default budget?
Yes, I'm going to bring that up. And by adding the $59,600, the new default budget with the sewer would be $4,588,718, and the new proposed budget would be $4,584,619, which puts us at $4,099 under the default with the sewer. So our adjustment would be, right now, we currently have, from our last meeting, $4,525,019. We would be increasing that to the proposed budget from the BOS. Mr. Brown?
And once again, I'm not sure if my voice will carry. Chair would restate that this is expense that we cannot escape because it is part of mandatory, normal, institute of the state and federal government in conjunction.
Correct. And to readdress Mr. Brown's comment, whether we approve this or not, the funding is going to have to be spent to and take care of this. That's the reason why it gets added to the default budget. It is mandated federally, and it is also mandated environmentally that we have to make sure that we take care of the stormwater runoff into the streams. Currently, and I just want to address a little bit further, EPA and all that every year increases the requirements. We are behind 4 years, correctly, Ernie? 4 years on trying to catch up on this project. So this will help bring us back in line with what we need to do to make sure that we do not have problems with stormwater runoff. Any other comments or questions? All right. Hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Jill Briggs, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. And while I've got it, I am going to make the adjustment here, and I will update it and give everyone the bottom line, because we're going to call for the vote on the bottom line budget too. So. Make that adjustment, and I gotta make and I already did make it there. I will approve this part. Refresh. Thank you. This in an approved state. All right, so we've made the adjustment to the town administrator budget only. Amy, just for your clarification, that was approved 7-0 to add the $59,600. The new bottom line, the new budget for the town administrator is $346,643. Now, I'm going to call for we now have a bottom line budget with the sewer of $4,584,619, which puts us at $4,099 below the default. Do I have a motion on the floor? Peg?
I'll make a motion to approve bottom line $4,584,619.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to, and Larry, I saw that for the second. The motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the bottom line budget of $4,584,619, seconded by Larry Brown. It is open for discussion. Any comments or questions? Mr. Brown?
I just want to hammer it again, because so much good work has gone on this budget. You are not going to get out of $59,000 by choosing more expensive budget and paying an extra $4,000.
This is true. Can't argue that. I don't know anyone that wants to spend more. Peg, you had a comment?
No, I was just giving him the thumbs up on that comment.
So, any other comments or questions or concerns? All right. So, with that in mind, I will call for a roll call vote, starting from my left.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Jill Briggs, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion carries 7-0 to approve the bottom line budget for the town, which does come in at $4,099 below the default budget, the total value of $4,584,619. I do thank the town too, because again, this was a motion that we put in effect back in July to ask that we come up with a budget this year that meets the voters' needs and comes in under the default, and we've been able to do that. I'm going to mark this in approved state. I will get this out to everyone. This will be ready for our budget hearing as well. public hearing on the 16th, and I will post this on the website. Next up on the agenda is the town warrants. And I will, I gotta go back and grab this other one. I'm gonna actually grab the two numbers because we don't have them in there. Let's see. Copy. Warrant article. I want to be able to read it without having to guess. Bear with me just one moment, please. All right, I have the warrant articles in front of me here up on the screen. I'm going to start with Article 2, and I will do the same thing here. We'll read the warrant article. And I know already, and I didn't put it on this first one, it's because I forgot to put the select board was 3-0, but because we were changing the number, I wanted to make sure it was clear for us as well, because this is, the budget committee is the one that actually puts the operating budget together. So Article 2, operating budget, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget, $4,584,619, not including appropriations set by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately. The amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $4,588,718, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 4013, Roman numeral 10 and Roman numeral 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. A majority vote is required. So anyways, and again, this comes in at $4,099 below the default. Do I have a motion on the floor? Oh, this has been approved by the budget committee, I'm sorry, 3-0. I hadn't put the information back down. I don't have the tax impact on this yet, but we'll talk to that. But this is for the budget itself, so do I have a motion on the floor from the budget committee? Peg?
Sure.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve, whatever that.
You can say, actually, to save you for that, you can say Article 2 operating budget. You don't have to say.
Article 2 operating budget.
There you go. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Brown. So, motion on the floor from Peg Herders to approve Article 2 operating budget, seconded by Larry Brown. Open for discussion. Hearing none. Yeah, well, I know. That's why we're not doing it again. Just one, but I have to go through it. I'll call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Emery, aye.
Scott Carey, aye.
Peg Hurd, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. Motion passes for Article 2, 7-0. Thank you. All right. Next up is Article 3, Highway and Road Reconstruction Fund. So to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $155,000 for the purpose of the highway and road reconstruction, maintenance, repairs, repaving, and reconstruction of Class 4 and 5 highways as recommended in the 2021 to 2026 Capital Improvements Program. Said amount will be partially offset by revenues from the New Hampshire Highway Block Grant, estimated to be $129,500. This will be a non-lapsing appropriation per RSA 32-7, Roman numeral 6, and will not lapse until the road work is completed for the 2020-2021 period as determined by Public Works Director or his or her designee, or by December 31st, 2021, whichever occurs first. majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 5.2 cents per thousand, yes, 5.2 cents per $1,000 of evaluation. This was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 3-0-0. I want to address also that the comment on here is that when we get to Article 3 is the time to explain, and this will be for the open session. If someone wants to amend the warrant article to increase it, that we need to tell people that the reason it is only $155,000 is because you only have $26,068 left to be able to raise for taxes. The state highway block grant is approximately $129,500. So when you add the sum of $26,000 to it, it comes out to the $155,500. And to clarify, they have to put the full amount into the warrant article, even though it's only going to raise the $26,068 for taxation. Correct, Ernie? Okay. So, do I have a motion on the floor? Peg?
I will make a motion to, for Article 3, $155,500 added to the, whatever it is, the highway and road reconstruction, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, so let's simplify this. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the $155,500 amount for Article 3, Highway and Road Reconstruction Fund. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded Lisa Gautreaux. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve Article 3, Highway and Road Reconstruction Fund in the amount of $155,500, which will be offset by $129,500 from the New Hampshire Highway Block Grant. And it was seconded by Lisa Gautreaux. It is open for discussion. Are there any comments, questions, concerns? Ernie, is there anything you want to address separately, or you all set with it?
The most important thing was repeating.
Yep, please.
The most important thing to understand is that with this article, once you go past that extra $26,000, and you're past the tax cap, that's why, and I know you just explained this, but I just want to stress that. So it was originally at $300,000.
Right, and that's what it's been in recent years, correct? Okay? Everyone heard that? That's related to the tax cap, is the reason we lowered the amount? All right, Peg?
I think I have a question for Ernie. Is this gonna really do much good to the roads in town? Quite honestly, because I know last year it was
Yeah, it was shot down last
year, and, you know, we asked for things to be done, but then people voted down, and then they complain about the roads. So, I mean, if this goes through for the $26,000, are we gonna be able to really do much of anything to the roads?
Well, I'm not an expert in road construction, but that's quite a drop.
Yeah.
What you were asking, and the roads do get worse when they don't get maintained. So I think if this amount is not increased to at least $300,000, we're just going to continue falling.
Right.
And I guess, kind of following up, I mean, you said something about keeping within the tax cap.
This is to make sure that we do not exceed the tax cap set.
Right, but I mean, is there something that is, and I'm assuming it's the tax cap on all the warrant articles, or just each individual?
It's the total.
Okay. Would there be someplace else where money should be put in here, but taken from one of the other warrant articles? Or should we talk about that later, or what are you saying
Well,
now?
I think with all the work that we've done so far, with both select board, the department heads and the budget committee, I'm not sure that could be some, that was transferred from one to the other. The recommendations you got from the CIP articles, which are the ones that follow this,
Right.
are the ones that came from the planning board, and of course, the board of selectmen sent them forward. You, for the budget committee, can do what you want to with those. One of the other things that could happen, but I'm not really encouraging it at this point, the fund balance at this point is about right where it ought to be. And I think by the time we get done, paying all the remaining invoices and so forth, and close out for the year, you're gonna see maybe 200,000 possibly go back into the fund balance. I'm not sure if we'll get everything in, but, you know, that would be the other source.
Okay, all right, that helps, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ernie.
And
All right.
that's good information to know what's in the fund balance now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's more, we'll bring that up at the public hearing as well.
Right, but I mean,
So-
I didn't know,
Yep.
I don't have it.
Well, in all honesty, that's where we got the tax break this year too, was by lowering the fund balance. So that's how we ended up lowering the
But
tax
I'm assuming
rate.
that they have individual ones, like the school district does?
There's an overall, go ahead, Ernie, if you want to address the fund balance.
Yeah, I mean, the unassigned fund balance at this point, recommendation, from our auditors, even about 14%
Right.
of the,
Operating.
the town operating budget, the school operating budget, the county budget. So it comes out to that amount, it's about 1.4 million is what it should be. We're slightly under that at this point, but there'll be money added to it from unexpended appropriation issue.
Okay, I know there's a general fund, but I know that I have seen in the past, you know, a breakdown of, like, these specific funds. Are there none of those, really?
This is a general fund in
So
all of
this
them.
is a general fund?
This is the general fund for the town, the one
Okay, but
fund.
you said 200,000, which,
Which the surplus, that would be the surplus, as he was stating, and I'll just clarify it so everyone can hear it. The
okay,
$200,000 is a projection of how much is going to be remaining from this year's operating budget that would get put back
Okay.
into
all
the
right,
fund balance.
okay, all right.
The
thank
general,
you.
it's the general fund, which would be the fund balance, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That was a little bit confusing, going
okay.
1.4.
Yeah, no, and like, right now, like I said, we haven't got the final year expenditures added into
Right.
the operating budget. And, so that's what that'll be.
Okay.
All right, any additional comments or questions? Mr. Carrier?
Yeah. The only reason that Pat raised the amount of money last year was because it's just not going far enough. The
Right.
cost of oil is going up, and it's still going up. And that's the reason he did it. Now, this little bit here, I don't know how much you're gonna be able to do, but you'll have to find some spot, but it's gotta be better than putting cold patches on that don't stay in.
Yep.
It would be better if we could at least get back to where it was, but that was the reason he put it, because it just doesn't stretch far enough.
Well, he asked for the to address that, he asked for the 300,000 last year and it was shot down. So this year we're asking for a smaller amount in hopes that we can raise enough money to maintain what we can on the road, so. Go ahead, Ernie.
I was just gonna clarify, the process on this. If at deliberative session, people wanted to exceed the tax cap,
They can.
you can do that with a motion at the deliberative session, not here though.
Right,
Just so you know the
Right,
process.
right.
You're afraid, you know, there's not enough money, that's why I put the note.
no, and that, thank you for the clarification, that does help. Yeah, and we're not exceeding it here with the budget committee, that's for sure, so. All right, any other comments or questions on this article? All right, then I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Buck area, aye.
Thank you, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. Motion passes 7-0. Article 3, Highway and Road Construction Fund in the amount of $155,000. So let's move on. The next one I'm going to read, this is not for, only because I just want to make sure that everyone understands. If somebody at home says, hey, you didn't talk about Article 4, this isn't for us to vote on. But I do want to address this, Article 4, because I know I was involved with this, and the Budget Committee's had presentations on it. So to see if this is about an employee retention plan. To see if the town will vote to adopt the employee retention plan, which establishes a grade and step plan for classes of employees of the town of Milton. If approved, any scheduled increases as laid out in the plan and approved by the Board of Selectmen will be incorporated into the operating budget in subsequent years, starting with 2022. No funds shall be raised in 2021, and this will require a majority vote. I want to address this because I know Chief Kraus came and talked to us. This was something that we actually started talking about this past summer. And this is actually been kind of a pet peeve of mine, not having any kind of plan in place to understand where people stand on a certain scale. You know, we have a plan in place for the Public Works. We have a plan in place approved for the police department, but we didn't have anything in other areas. Now, one of the things I asked for this year too is, because we wanted to keep the budget down under the default, we've had issues in the past trying to find out what people were getting for pay raises. It would appear that some people were getting extremely high pay raises because it would go back to the previous default when we had default budgets. So we're 2 years behind trying to see what people's actual pay scales were this year. The Board of Selectmen have the right to give out pay raises. This would clarify what the pay is to the public, not just what's been done in Board of Selectmen meeting votes. And I'm not taking anything away from the selectmen, but this will clarify for a 5-year term what is going to go into the salaries year in and year out for up to 5 years, and then this gets looked at again in 5 years. So I know we don't have a vote on it from the Budget Committee, but I wanted to address that this is a big plus to help not only the Board of Selectmen, the employees in town, but the Budget Committee and the public with understanding where the operating budget's going to go in terms of salary.
Did we ever get an estimate of what the cost would be to get employees to their next step?
We have not got that yet.
We asked for it though.
No, we have not got an estimate on where it is, because right now, we do have though in the budget, in our budget that we've shown, what they're currently being paid, and the only thing they're getting right now is 2% for this current year. Got to find out if this gets what that's going to be, so I don't know yet.
I know that this particular article doesn't have any monetary value to it, just a general question that we just brought up before.
Yeah. To know what it would cost to bring people up to speed is as a matter of fact, that would be something that would be good to have for the public hearing, even though it's not one that we're addressing directly, but it's definitely going to be something that'll be brought up later for the deliberative session.
Which is why we took the
Right.
proactive step to ask that.
Nope.
2 months ago?
Yep, absolutely.
Give or take.
Peg?
I just have a quick question. If this is approved by the voters, it actually becomes a contract. So any of the salary increases in all of the.
Would be identified as to what the default will be and what the.
Right, so my salary will go from, 20 cents to 25 cents.
Mm-hmm.
The 25 cents will be shown in the operating and in the default.
Correct.
And it was a big increase, I know, Bob, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
25.
But no, and that's the whole point. Right now, the toughest part for us, as everyone in this room knows, was what is the salary today? Because if we're going to sit there and say that we approve, this is where the salary is, we really need to know that it's not coming from, and I know people at home can't see my hands, everyone in the room can, but I'll use if somebody today is earning $50,000, but it shows in the budget that they're only earning $40,000, and now they want to go to $52,000, they're only getting a $2,000 raise, but it looks like they're getting a $12,000 raise. This would eliminate all that. This would put it all in place so that everyone knows where they stand. And to address Danielle's comment, we do still need to know where people are going to fall on the scale, because we've got all those steps. In what's that going to end up being, Because there are people that are going to be adjusted according to the new pay plan, where right now they don't have one. All right. Moving on to the next one that we have to vote on. Article 5, the Bridge Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be placed in the Bridge Capital Reserve Fund, previously established for the purpose of funding future capital expenditures as recommended in the 2021 to 2026 Capital Improvements Program. This sum to come from the unassigned fund balance. No amount to be raised from taxation. Majority vote required. The estimated tax impact would be 0 per $1,000 of valuation. This is recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 3-0-0. Do I have a motion on the floor? Peg?
I will make a motion to approve Article 5, Bridge Capital Reserve Fund, $25,000 coming from unassigned fund balance.
All right, do I have a second? I get Mr. Brown's hand went up. So the motion on the floor from Peg Heard is to approve Article 5 Bridge Capital Reserve Fund in the amount of $25,000 to be placed in the Bridge Capital Reserve Fund from the unassigned fund balance. Seconded by Mr. Brown. It is open for discussion.
Do we, or can we get balances for all of the capital reserve funds, like we have historically?
That was the way it is.
Could you, that's okay. That way, yeah, because I know the balance, Amy can give it to us on the minutes, but I want the public to hear. So the balance on this one is now, before you do this, Ernie, can I address something? This has been confused in past years. This is not for the Townhouse Road Bridge.
Right.
Okay, well, no, I want that clarified, because year in and year out, we've been hit with that. I thought we already had the money. Yes, this is for all other bridges in town.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ernie, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So the balance in there as of November, you understand that the new statements will be out about next week.
Yeah.
And those actually have the deposits. There were only $60,000 in voted appropriations last year. That included the library, bridges, and the two technologies, GIS and the regular technology.
Right.
Was total $60,000. So, out of the 25,000 was approved for this one, so it would be roughly 200,000.
Okay.
And we'll have the exact balances.
We will need it for the okay, thank you. Peg.
All right, so I'm only because I'm so used to working with the school districts where we actually have, this is our fund balance, this is for each one of our warrant articles from tonight. And it seems to me that I have heard that the town has specific balances for
Different funds.
different
Capital
funds.
reserve fund.
But, right, but then
The
I hear that this goes into the general and that goes into the general and now.
Okay, I can help you with this one too. Yeah, Bob has the report, which is the MS9 report.
Thank you.
Yeah, we haven't,
The updated one though.
No,
Yeah.
at least this,
that's what we're gonna need, this
thank you.
this coming week. So we do have, there's a lot of different funds out there.
Thank you.
Not to be confused with the general fund. The general fund is an account that captures surplus funds from the operating budget. Now, from that, we have used money from surplus funds to help pay for some of these other reserve funds, such as we did for the Townhouse Bridge, and now for the capital, these particular bridges here, municipal buildings, the other articles in here, there are different funds set aside as part of the capital improvements program. Same thing for fire department apparatus, police, the cruisers, you name it. We've got different funds that have been set aside. What we have for warrant articles this year is just what was brought forth off a list of a lot of different capital improvement programs, not all, but they're trying to use surplus funds to help increase these fund balances.
Okay, one of the things is, I'm just looking at each one of the fund balances, or
Yep.
whatever they're called, trust funds. And roads are not on here. So now it's kind of clarifying for me what you said about that being part of the 1.5 million for the general fund, because it doesn't
Yeah,
have.
there is no capital reserve fund for the highways.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I would hear these.
Yeah, we pay for that out of the vote, the appropriations from the vote.
Thank you, Bob, for this.
Now, off on the right-hand side of this, under an explanation, which the public will also understand in the long run, is, it says this article will appropriate funds to the Bridge Capital Reserve Fund, which sets aside money for repairs to Milton bridges that are solely within the town of Milton, like the Winding Road Bridge project. The New Hampshire Department of Transportation estimates that project will cost upwards of $1,080,000, and the town will need to provide a local match of about $216,000. So I know there are a lot of people at home that understand that that's what happened, like the Townhouse Bridge. Milton had to come up with a certain amount, Lebanon come up with an amount, and then the two states came up. So New Hampshire Department of Transportation will help do the work, but we have to have the $216,000 to make sure we get the right repairs. And we do have that. Winding Bridge Road is on the list of dangerous bridges at this point in time that need repair. You know, it's in need of repair to make sure it brings it up to standards. All right. Any additional comments or questions? All set, Peg? All right, I'll call for a roll.
It makes more sense to me
Makes-
now, because it's like, why would that not be?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Ernie, if you could you, because I haven't seen it for a couple months, could you forward me the MS9 report? Get the MS9 report, or have the MS9 report sent to me. I know Bob and I've gone back and forth on it at times, but that'll help explain a lot of things,
Right.
including the cemetery trust, because that's got the biggest piece of things across that, but I'll get that out to everyone so they'll see it.
Yeah, no, I think this is very important
Yeah.
to have, because, you know, we've got our
That's
school right there.
usually what ends up happening during the deliberative session. I've had, and I'll give Karen Brown a lot of credit, because we'll be sitting there and go, what's the fund balance? And Karen will give us the information, because we don't always, you have too, Danielle, but you're not always on the computer. But my point, I'm saying, during the actual meeting, we've gone back and forth.
I know better to ask for it,
Yeah,
because I know it's not gonna be given.
but nope. And anyways, with that in mind, we're all set with Article 5. If there's no other comments or questions, I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gastro, aye.
Mary Brown? Aye.
Janelle Marie, aye.
I'll carry aye.
Peg Heard, aye.
Buddy, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so the motion passes 7-0 to approve Article 5, Bridge Capital Reserve Fund in the amount of $25,000. Next up is Article 6, Municipal Buildings Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the Municipal Buildings Capital Reserve Fund, previously established for the purpose of funding future capital expenditures as described in the recommended 2021-2026 capital improvements program. Sum to come from unassigned fund balance, no amount to be raised from taxation, majority vote required, estimated tax impact of 0 per thousand. And I'm gonna give the explanation before we call for the motion on this one. This article will place the $50,000 into the capital reserve fund primarily for high-cost repair and maintenance items. Fund can help to mitigate the cost of unexpected and expensive occurrences. Do I have a motion on the floor? Peg?
I'll make a motion to approve Article 6 to add $50,000 to the Municipal Building Capital Reserve Fund.
All right, do I have a second? Second from Danielle Marie. So the motion on the floor is to approve Article 6, to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the Municipal Buildings Capital Reserve Fund, and it was seconded by Danielle Marie. Open for discussion. Yes.
Good luck.
Ernie, please. Yep, the balance on this fund right now. Yeah.
Can we do them all first?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so,
Because you're gonna ask for each article, right?
hold on a second, guys, because remember, they can't hear it at home if we do this. Ernie, could you try this one more?
sure. You know, I've got the November, you.
Okay.
On the November, it's 40,250, that one's gonna remain, well, the same, so this year we didn't have an appropriation last year.
Okay,
We'll have interest,
all right, thank you. 40,250 currently in the reserve fund.
Just for housekeeping, do we want to go through the list of all of them now, so he doesn't have to get up and down?
Well,
Or just articles?
no, we'll do it as we get into the article. We actually,
Everyone.
if we don't, what's gonna happen is we're not gonna have that, and it's gonna make it harder for Amy. Yeah, and then, okay,
That was your warning.
yep. Oh, no, well, that's okay. He's not in the cast anymore. We're all set. We get. All right, any other comments?
You need the PT, right? You need the PT, right?
Yes.
Is there a project in mind? Or did I miss that on?
On the municipal buildings, this is the general fund for any of the repairs in there, and we know the town, right now, the townhouses, I don't think there's anything specific planned at this point, right, Ernie? Other than I know we got you got repairs such as the foundation could go at any point in time. That was one of the ones that I know has been brought up. Furnace went, yeah. We also had the electrical repairs that went through, so.
Nothing on the agenda.
Nothing specific at this point in time.
The townhouse is a separate issue.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no, this is not the old townhouse, the current townhouse, 424 White Mountain Highway. That particular.
Have a Ramsey building upstairs, downstairs.
But it isn't just that building, that's just one of the ones that we know is.
Yeah.
Because you got needs in a lot of different areas, including Public Works, which is having problems with their building at this point in time, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought they had said.
They've built it themselves, but it's in need of repairs. No, that's fine. That's a good question, and there isn't anything planned at this point that I know.
No different than the one at the school.
Nope,
What?
No different than my question with the school.
nope, no, you did fine. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, I'll call for a motion on Article 6, a roll call on Article 6.
Lisa Guttrow, aye.
Aye.
Well, Carrie, I.
Hey, Bird, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so the motion passes 7-0 for Article 6 to raise and appropriate $50,000 for the municipal building capital reserve fund from the fund balance. All right, next up is the Article 7 for the boat ramp repair, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for the repair of the boat ramp at the town beach as recommended in the 2021-2026 capital improvements program. This sum to come from unassigned fund balance, no amount to be raised from taxation, majority vote required, estimated tax impact $0 per thousand, 0 per thousand, and it was recommended by the Board of Selectmen 3-0. Do I have a motion? Okay, your arm's gonna fall off.
I know. I will make a motion to approve Article 7, to add $5,000 for the boat ramp repair.
All right, do I have a second?
Well, second.
Seconded from Lisa Guttrow. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve Article 7 to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for the repair of the boat ramp at the town beach, seconded by Lisa Guttrow. It's open for discussion. Peg?
Question, I know this has been on every time, but I'm looking at all of this. Would this be part of the fund balance or whatever it's called for the recreation department, or separate?
Yeah, here's what I have on that. I don't think you have this in yours, because I was gathering the information. This article appropriates $5,000 towards the repair of the boat ramp at the town beach. There are previously approved funds in the amount of $15,000 in the Recreation Capital Reserve Fund, along with the funding that has been raised by gate fees and the Recreation Revolving Fund. The initial funding of approximately $20,000, $10,000 for shoreline permit, $10,000 for wetlands permit, will go for that. And then once the permits are in place, the town will have 5 years with an additional 5 years of needed to complete the project. This warrant will cover the cost of those permits out of the Recreation Capital Reserve.
Okay, but that didn't answer my question. Is the capital reserve fund for the recreation department, this does not fall under that, even though it's part of the recreation?
No, they're gonna use, if this appropriation is passed, they would use this to supplement those funds to start the permitting.
They will use some of the money from the recreation fund to help on this project. This is to be added to part of that, yes.
Yeah, so this isn't to go.
This is an offset, it's not going into the fund.
Right, yeah.
Right. It's going towards the wetland permits and all that, to get this thing started. But they're gonna use money from the rec department to help,
so it is kind
to
of-
do the repair.
All right.
They're in conjunction with one another,
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
yes. I do know that this has been shot down
Oh.
in recent years too, so. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Brown?
That, I would not use the phrase exactly shot down,
Was not passed, that's fine.
Against it, but it turned out to be a very complicated, project. And I know from conversations with Karen that she had gone up to Ossipee, where the state Fish and Game, whatever department, has a very useful modular, which is like a Lego assembly, in which concrete blocks are just into the water, but still the funding sources and the timeline and how to get rid of the corpse has been a difficult thing.
No, I appreciate that, and you're right, it shouldn't say shut down. It didn't get approved last year by the voters. This has been an ongoing thing in dealing with the boat ramp needing dire repairs, because it isn't in good shape for launching boats.
Can't find the right size point.
Yeah, but, no, the biggest thing in dealing with anything on the waterfront is obviously getting the permits and all that. That's the biggest expense. You know, the repair work is one thing, but to get the wetland, and the shore protection permits and everything else going through is all a part of this. So, thank you, Larry. And yes, I do know that they were talking about the modular units to be able to come in. Okay, any other comments or questions on this particular one? No, it's okay.
No, be quiet.
No, you're fine. I don't want quiet. I need to make sure we address any questions or comments. All right. Hearing none, I will call for a roll call vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gatro, aye.
Bert Brown, aye.
Lori, aye.
Bob Carey, aye.
Peg Bird, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion passes 7-0-0. Article 7, boat ramp repair to raise and appropriate $5,000. Next up is Article 8, the Milton Free Public Library Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be placed in the Milton Free Public Library Capital Reserve Fund, previously established for the purpose of funding capital expenditures as recommended in the 2021-2026 Capital Improvements Program. This sum to come from unassigned fund balance, no amount to be raised from taxation. Majority vote is required. Estimated tax impact is 0 per $1,000 of valuation. Do I have a motion? Peg?
I make a motion to approve Article 8, adding $20,000 to the Milton Free Library Capital Reserve Fund.
All right, do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Brown. So motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve Article 8, Milton Free Public Library Capital Reserve Fund, raising and appropriating $20,000 for that fund from the unassigned fund balance, seconded by Mr. Brown. It is open for discussion.
I'm not seeing.
Nope, Bernie's up.
There are two, well, the notes here, I think it's the same note you have, it's Article 5 funding for the public library.
Yep.
Continue renovation and restoration work on the Little Red Schoolhouse.
Yep.
This funding will be used as matching funds for grants and will allow the library to finish one of the last phases of rehab of the historic building. So there are actually two funds here, capital reserve funds for the library. I believe this one goes to the 2014 fund. It has $360 in it right now. And,
$360?
Right, approximately.
Okay,
And the 2005 one has $1,600.
okay. No, I just wanted to make sure it was clear, it was 360, not, okay. Thank you, Ernie.
Yeah, no, just, well, let me clarify, $20,000 was approved last year, and that was deposited late December, so that will be reflected.
It'll be reflected in the next MS9 report.
Yeah, so it's approximately 20,000.
That makes a little more sense. I thought we had more than $360 approved, so,
Yep.
okay.
Not in there yet.
Nope, okay. Yeah, it's a little hard to swallow with 360 in all, so. All right, any other questions or comments?
That means they're using it.
They are using the money to do the repair work.
To be 100% honest with you.
And we know that is continuing to work on the schoolhouse, the red
And they're
schoolhouse.
getting grants and
Oh, yeah, no, and this is, yeah, because the grants match any of the funds that are raised from this, yes. Any other questions or comments? All right, let's call for a vote, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gattro, aye.
Larry Brown, aye.
Danielle Marie, aye.
Well, Carrier, aye.
Dick Hurd, aye.
Heidi Murray, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye, so that motion passes. Article 8, Milton Free Public Library Capital Reserve Fund to raise and appropriate $20,000 for that fund from the unassigned fund balance. All right, next up is Article 9. Article 9 is the Technology Upgrade Capital Reserve Fund to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,500 to be placed in the Technology Upgrade Capital Reserve Fund previously established for the purpose of funding future capital expenditures as recommended in the 2021-2026 Capital Improvements Program. This sum to come from the unassigned fund balance. No amount to be raised from taxation. Majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is zero per $1,000 of valuation. To address that, this is provide funding for periodic replacement and upgrades of town technology. Ernie, let me call for the motion first. But do I have a motion on the floor?
Debate.
Huh?
I, make the motion to approve Article 9 to add $1,500, for the Technology Upgrade Capital Reserve Fund.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Lisa Gattro seconded. All right, so the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve Article 9 to raise and appropriate $1,500 to be placed in the Technology Upgrade Capital Reserve Fund coming from unassigned fund balance, and it was seconded by Lisa Gattro. So it is open for discussion. Okay, Ernie.
Tag.
So last year, $2,500 was approved, that was added to the balance, about $20,000.
Okay. So with the two, this will get us somewhere in the neighborhood of $24,000 to cover us for any upgrades. Okay?
You have a $6,300 server that's installed.
Okay.
Out of this fund or through a different means?
Is the server coming from this fund? Is the question?
I'll have to double.
Or is that coming from, okay? Any other comments or questions while we're waiting on that?
What else? I mean, what is the plan for?
Well, technology upgrade is gonna be more than just computers, but as it says over here, desktop computers gotta be rotated out every 4 or 5 years.
Everything was just replaced?
It was replaced this past year, right?
Yeah, all the
Everything?
all the desktops and so forth.
Right, so the next plan would be start in about 3 years.
Yeah, we actually have a little one to go, we replace every single one.
But I'm saying those ones will go into a cycle about 3 years or so, and you got some more to replace. Okay.
We usually work with that date and
Okay.
great. Now, as far as the service is concerned, that is actually going to be covered with, unexpected appropriation this year. And, I mean, the reason that the council,
Yep.
back up there.
Okay.
The reason that the planning board approved only $1,500, or recommended only $1,500, because we do have a pretty good balance in there at this point. But as you mentioned, the technology fund itself could cover telephones. We could just replace those. I understand upgrading some of the things like buying one of those conference call things if we need to do that to improve the situation at town hall. When we have phone calls while we're dealing with the pandemic, and even conference calling and be able to hear people on camera from the room. It's really difficult.
I was gonna say, we've talked about the fact that it is hard to hear and that, now, that could also be used for technology towards our streamlining aspect of this, any of the equipment needed to help upgrade, improve that performance, because we've had a lot of problems at town hall, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the main problem there, I think this will apply there as well. We have to purchase that software that we were talking about.
Yep.
Proprietary software, that is somewhere in the neighborhood of around $1,200.
Let me ask this question, because I know it was $2,500 last year, and you said we've got approximately 20,000 plus that 2,500 would be, so that'd be at 22,500. Do we have a cap set for this? In other words, well, I mean, some funds, we try to get to a certain level to make sure that we maintain that level. So I'm trying to figure out if we're at 20,000 now when we raised 2,500, do we need to raise another 1,500 now where equipment was replaced through some other funding we received? So.
That doesn't take into effect the funding that we received from Atlantic Broadband.
Yeah, that's the technology aspect of things for the town hall, right? That money has been used, though. The $5,000 that we got from Atlantic Broadband has been used. But my question is just, and I don't know, Larry, maybe you can address it. Do you know if the planning board talked about a cap or anything on these types of funds? Okay. Right now, there was $20,000 in the fund for the technology upgrade. We got another $2,500 approved last year that will be going into that fund at the end of the year, which we've just finished. So that gives us $22,500 is what will be in this fund. We just had equipment replaced, you know, through other funding streams, which is good. Is there any kind of goal to reach, like, was 20,000 a goal? Or did we need to get to 25,000? Because this would bring us to 24,000 with. Yep. No, I understand. I didn't know if there was any but you guys do discuss the funding aspect on these things.
Our discussion has always been the importance of this purchase, whether it is safety related, if it is essential purpose of the entity, and what time frame should the dollar amount, particularly for technology, is at all of administration, because those costs take such unexpected points.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do remember a total figure of $35,000 monthly. What that is,
Okay.
The only thing we did have was a discussion from how to bring certain technology up in the library and the whole
Okay. All right, thank you. And like I said, I know you guys get into where does it fit in the plan, so I just wanted to know that part of it. But
makes sense, but they do the following part show who asked the school mentor the answer, and Dr. Albert said, it's fractured.
yeah, some of it is, there's no doubt. Okay, any other comments or questions? I'll call for a vote on Article 9, starting with Lisa.
Lisa Gatro, aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Danielle?
It's really hard to
Mm-hmm.
put money in a fund with that big of a balance when everything's been replaced, so unfortunately, no.
Okay. Bob?
Bob Gary, aye.
Aye.
And actually, I'm going to vote no as well at this point. So the motion does pass 5-2. So the motion for Article 9 passes 5-2, Technology Upgrade Capital Reserve Fund in the amount of $1,500. Next up is Article 10, Graphic Information System. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,500. said that one wrong. For the purposes of continued upgrades of the public web-based graphical information system, GIS, for the town is recommended in the 2021-2026 capital improvements program. This sum to come from unassigned fund balance, no amount to be raised from taxation, majority vote required, estimated tax impact of 0 per $1,000 evaluation, recommended by the Board of Selectmen 3-0. Do I have a motion? Peg?
I will make a motion to approve Article 10, the GIS, an additional $2,500.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Danielle Marie. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve the graphical information system, Article 10, to raise and appropriate $2,500 for the purposes of upgrading that system. Seconded by Danielle Marie. Is open for discussion. Ernie, you want to talk about the balance, please?
2,600, in the fund approximately now, last year, $2,500.
Right, and I do know that there is an ongoing aspect of upgrading the system that was being put in place. So, okay, any comments or questions? All right, hearing none. I know we did get an explanation of this before, so people at home don't think that we're not, we're just going past this. This system is, this system's out there for maps and everything else of everything within this town. This is the big, big piece. To bring us up to the, good, Ernie.
So right now, the company is CAI Technologies, and we have a web-based geographic information system platform that people are going to be using that, number one, for layering to show where outfalls are for that MS score.
Yep.
That's going to be a very valuable tool for us, time saving there. This system, every year, Bruce is working on improvements to it, the planning board, so that's basically what's going on. But I think MS score is going to be a huge one with this.
No. Thank you. No, that's a good point. That's a very good point. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, call for a vote.
Lisa Gastro, aye.
Around five.
You okay, Les? You okay? All right, well, make sure. No, I know, but I still want to make sure. I know which arm it is, but I just want to make sure you're okay.
Danielle Marie, aye.
Thank you for changing that. Bob, carry it.
Carry aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. So the motion passes 7-0. Article 10, graphical information system to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,500 to be placed in that program. All right, next.
What? Maybe I do like wearing a mask.
Next up is Article 11, eradicate invasive species. Ernie, that needs to say invasive plant species when we get ready to fix that, because it's not we have a lot of other things out there that we do not need to be working on. So, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for the purposes of eradicating invasive plant species from bodies of water in the town. This is a special warrant article as recommended in the 2021-2026 capital improvement program and will be non-lapsing appropriation per RSA 32-7, Roman numeral 6, and will not lapse until the invasive plant species eradication from bodies of water in town is completed or by December 31st, 2022, whichever is sooner. This sum to come from unassigned fund balance, no amount to be raised from taxation, majority vote required. Estimated tax impact is 0 per $1,000 evaluation, recommended by the Board of Selectmen 3-0-0. Do I have a motion? Peg?
Absolutely. I make a motion to approve Article 11, and shall I add this, eradicate invasive plant species,
That's good.
for $5,000.
Okay. Do I have a second? Seconded by Danielle Marie. So the motion on the floor from Peg Hurd is to approve Article 11, eradicate invasive plant species, to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000, seconded by Danielle Marique. It is open for discussion. Actually, I want to bring this up before you talk. This has been an ongoing thing for anybody out there that knows that Milton, Three Ponds Protective Association, in conjunction with the town of Milton, town of Lebanon, New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, and the Maine Department of Environmental Services have been working to try to make sure that we get rid of European naiad from these ponds, but it's also to monitor the ponds for any other work that's needed. The money gets split three ways with the two towns in Milton Three Ponds, and this has actually been lowered because it was 10,000, but we have gotten more control. We're doing better. It's not done, but we're doing better. So this year, I know the amount went down, so that is the reason why this amount has been lowered to $5,000. So, any other comments or questions out there?
The
Yes.
states are, both Maine and New Hampshire are also.
Yes, it's all a part of it. As a matter of fact, there are all kinds of grants that we get from boat inspections to working on actually the treatments and everything else. Now, the treatments are in the $30,000–$40,000 range each and every year to make sure that they do this, but the treatments have been working to try to get rid of it. The problem with European naiad is killing it off. The treatments take quite a bit of time, and if anybody tries to pull it, they break off, and the seeds get replanted elsewhere, and that's why they keep finding little pockets here and there. Wherever we've done treatments, the treatments have worked, but they're finding it in various places, and including this year we went down below the dam and actually did treatments because that hadn't been done in the past. Down towards the Spalding Pond area, right. So they're making sure that they're working on that as well. So, and as a matter of fact, on both sides, the watershed area off to the northern side of Townhouse Road has also been treated. So. Yes, go ahead, Ernie, please.
Nothing to do necessarily with the eradicating the plant species, but the fact that the town has been working with TPPA or is trying to develop a partnership with MS4 as well. Perfect organization to help out with that, because those are the bodies of water.
Right. Yep. I also want to address that this money is used as part of the invasive plant species, but when we are funding things through the two towns and Milton and the Three Ponds Protective Association for the Milton Three Ponds, it also goes to pay, and I don't want to say just students, but it's the workers at the rec, at the town beach, and also over at Everett's Cove Marina to do the boat inspections. We pay for those things to make sure that boats coming in and out are not transferring any kind of invasive plant species into the water or out of the water. So it's a big, big part of things. Yes, Peg?
This is kind of an aside, but I was driving into Maine
Yep.
a while ago on 202, and I saw a sign, do not bring plant species.
Yep.
And I'm going, I have plants in the back of my car. Why can't I bring it over here?
It's transferal from the tires, the the trailer and everybody. Yeah, it's kind of funny when you see it.
And it didn't say anything about boats and water. It just said, don't bring plants over here. Okay,
Yep.
I won't.
Well, actually, the funny part was last year we had missed the word about invasive plant species. It didn't, in the bodies of water was not there.
That
was the one, because I sat there and went, we better make sure we clarify that we're not cleaning up chickweed and things like that. So, all right, any other questions or comments on this one? All right, I'll call for a vote. Lisa?
Lisa Gatra, aye.
Roy Brown, aye.
Danielle Marie, aye.
Bob Perry, aye.
Meg Hurd, aye.
And Humphrey Williams, aye. Motion passes for Article 11, eradicate invasive plant species in the sum of $5,000. Next up,
To vote on any of the rest.
we do not have to vote on this next one, and in the interest of time, this is the establishment of an independent capital improvement program committee. I'm going to bypass that one. We also don't have to vote on this next one, but I want to make sure everyone in here knows what it is. I'm going to bring it up here on the screen. This is a warrant article it was in 2016, it was warrant article 9, and it's now going to be warrant article 13. Ernie, you want to address this? I know I've got it up here on the screen, but this was just recently.
Right, the cemetery trustees, as I understand it, back in 2016, there was 24961 was donated to them by the Cemetery Association, which then disbanded.
Disbanded, correct.
And, so this money, what we're trying to do right now with legal counsel and John and others, we're trying to make sure that, this money can be reallocated for general cemetery usage as opposed to
just being used in Milton Mills, correct.
Right, so we don't have the language, I mean, that's the language that was proposed, that's under review right now, so we have to have that completed probably prior to the next, public hearing.
This one would not have to be in place for our public hearing. Well, no, I guess it should, but we're not, because we're not voting on this particular one. Mr. Brown, you got a...
Yes, just let anyone be concerned, this is general revenue money. It has nothing to do, with, perpetual care monies that have been put in place for a particular and individual group. That money,
Never touched. Yep.
untouched.
Correct. And that's actually in the MS9 report that we're talking about, that everyone got a copy of. You will see the perpetual, thank you, Larry, the perpetual care funding is shown in each of those areas. This does show the fund balance here right now is $31,595, but it's to take the 24,961 that was originally there to be able to make the trustees the agents to use it in other cemetery areas. All right. I will bring that one back down, get back to where we were. Next up is Article 14, the new Article 14. So it says, this is the Milton Townhouse Special Revenue Fund, and this is not to be confused with the 424 White Mountain Highway. This is the old townhouse. To see if the town will vote to adopt the provisions of RSA 3195C to restrict 100% of revenues from rental of the Milton Townhouse located at 962 White Mountain Highway to expenditures for the purpose of operating and maintaining the Milton Townhouse property and structures. Such revenues and expenditures shall be accounted for in a special revenue fund to be known as the Milton Townhouse Special Revenue Fund. Separate from the general fund, any surplus in said fund shall not be deemed part of the general fund accumulated surplus and shall be expended only after a vote by the legislative body to appropriate a specific amount from said fund for specific purposes related to the purpose of the fund or source of revenue. Majority ballot vote required. Again, there is no tax impact on this one. Don't know why we're even on this.
I don't know why.
This is not for us, Ernie, to make sure that should not be a budget committee. In reading it,
No, you're right.
so, and no, I just wanted to clarify, I'm reading it and went down there, and I says, that's not ours.
But I do have a question about this.
Yep,
Any surplus in such fund shall not be deemed part of the general fund, blah, 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 great, and shall be expended only after a vote by the legislative body.
yep, and what they're gonna do for work.
So if something needs to be done to the town, or to the old townhouse, they brought funds in, but they can't spend them unless the voters vote on them. I mean, describe the legislative body, to me, that means the voters.
So
No.
the way it works with the special revenue fund, in the previous town, where I was town administrator, they set one of these up for one of their buildings. And every year, we actually did an operating budget for that building. And it's presented as part of the, a request to the legislative body for what it would do that year. So it might have been, depending on how much revenue you get, we don't really even have that. I just know when started here, we're just about finished with the renovations. And in talking with Mr. Catwick about it, their plan had always been to start utilizing that building, and to get rental revenue. So the idea was to set up a special revenue fund so that those revenues could be captured
Right.
and utilized to maintain the building.
No, I totally understand all of that, in, out, but please describe, what is the legislative body?
That's the town meeting body.
Okay, so what you're saying is.
They'll present
once
projects
they
to
figure
the
out
town.
That we're going to charge $50, whatever, an event. Then let's plan on 100 events, so we're bringing in 5,000, okay, this is our income. We're thinking of spending $4,995, and that's presented every year.
That's the way I've done it.
Wow.
With special revenue fund. I mean, it's not that hard, it's just a general set of operating
Yeah,
lines, present it, say this is, we're gonna appropriate this amount.
Yep. Larry, you had a comment? Thanks.
A couple of different points to raise on that. We don't know who is the agent to expend.
yep,
And if the source of funding is zero, then the cost of maintaining the building, as opposed to renting it out, comes under the building. We don't know what basis the fund will be used.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea what it means to appropriate a specific fund from a set fund related to the purpose of the fund or source of revenue.
Yes.
I
Does that mean
It means that you, myself, and a few others do not have a law degree to try to read part of this, but yeah, I hear you, Larry. Go ahead, Ernie.
I agree with Larry.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
Way to go.
This is the statutory language, I know.
Yeah.
Somebody does a great job putting these together, but, essentially, Mr. Brown, the legislative body is the agent to expend.
It's what?
So when it comes to, if I put together a
Vote, the
budget,
town meeting is the,
yeah, the town meeting. So if we put together, a budget for the special revenue fund, you have the lines in there, and if you wanted to present that, but most of the time, people become familiar with it during the course of this course. So the first year, while you're gathering the income,
nothing's being spent.
yeah, it'll be through general buildings. But then after that, hopefully, if it's being used enough, you're able to bring enough money in to be able to maintain the building. But I can see it having to be supplemented with through the general buildings fund, the government buildings fund for a while. So, but basically, all the revenue that comes in from renting that is captured and put into a special fund. And every single year, we have like,
The initial, so, and just to clarify this, so the initial part of this is to establish the fund, so that as they rent the building, money is gonna go into this, but nothing's gonna be spent before it goes before a legislative board, the legislative body, which is all of us here in the town, at the town meeting, before any projects will utilize the funds. That's what this is asking for at this point.
I mean, I would like to see it created as a fund, like, I know the school
Like other
district has done, we'd like to create a specific fund. We're not asking to put any money in it, but next year we just want to get that thing started. And I can see that. I mean, I have a real hard time with this because there is so much that is unknown that I don't like the idea that we are projecting that we can bring in $5,000. Does that make sense? I totally understand that any money that's brought in should not be spent for anything else, but
Let me try something here.
townhouse
I
repairs.
think this specific building, which is the historical building and everything
Right.
else, currently falls under repair. I mean, we've had special projects that were done that John Catwick and company did through volunteers and everything else. But if it comes to maintenance on the building, it currently falls, it is a municipal building. It would currently be handled under maintenance, that we've got the other fund, okay? This is kind of trying to set aside, see if we can use rental money, rental fees and everything else to bring it in to kind of offset that, so we're not using municipal capital funds, but they don't want to do any of that work without the vote of the public to turn around and say, yes, we approved it, that'll come out of that funding and not under the building funds. That's what's happening here. I don't understand the full legalities of it, but.
I know, I just don't like the way it's written.
No,
And I don't have a
it
lot
is
of
kind of
agreement
hard to,
with it.
it's kind of hard to,
Well, the whole thing about this thing was, when we finished it,
yeah,
the idea, we put money back in, we want to make sure that building is maintained.
correct.
Right.
Because if you saw the way it was before.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, you and John and all, I mean, there's been a lot of work
We
on
have a lot
that.
of people involved, we have
Yep.
fundraisers to put that building back together, we don't want to let it, we're not going to be around forever, we don't want to let it go, but we want money put in there, so, not to drain, whatever money we can put right back into that building.
Yeah, no, absolutely, as opposed to, like I said, as opposed to utilizing other funds from the town.
Now,
So-
my idea on this, why would the legislature, the town would vote on this? I would think that the selectmen.
That, to me, makes more sense.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is where it comes down to, and I think is why does it have to go back before the town vote again, is where I think that, Larry?
Going backwards in time to Article 3, school board. Shall the Milton School District vote to create a capital reserve fund
Right.
for the purpose of purchasing and maintaining maintenance vehicles for the school district?
Mhm.
And to name
Same reason.
the school board as equal
Right.
to its.
Right.
Well, again, that makes more sense, and thing is, I think that's the biggest problem with that one, Ernie, and I know this has got to go back, it's not ours, but really, if it comes back to just the town, the school board is the designated body to take care of that reserve fund.
Right.
I don't understand this aspect either, why it would have to come back to the town for any maintenance.
Bob Perry and I are both paid.
Yeah,
I like the building.
So
No,
Larry
that's-
and Bob in there, okay, they have to approve it.
yeah, but it does make sense that the board of selectmen would be the ones to make the decision.
It should be, because it's a
As a-
town building.
I could find out if that,
If that can be done, I think that makes more sense, and not only that, but then it comes, see, it even comes back that, does the board of as it's worded here, this is like a petition article. If it's going to be done through the body, the legislative body,
Right.
then the recommendation from the board of selectmen means just like us, okay? No, I understand that, but my point was, I put the 3 in, I know that was in there, but we already know that this isn't a budget committee decision, so I'm gonna move past this for us. But it's just to help clarify it, I really believe that it should go back to the board of selectmen, just like Larry said, the school board on theirs.
let's see if that can happen, but the difference is, this is special revenue fund.
I understand, and if it needs to be, then at the deliberative, at the hearing, it would be nice to have, legal there to be able to say this is why,
Yeah, yeah, so my question is, I'm just asking not as a budget
Yeah.
person, but just as a town person.
As a resident, why?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, so,
And I would love to rent the place for Moose Mountains Regional Greenway,
Yeah.
we tried before COVID.
that's kind of different, because that doesn't become a warrant article in out years, it becomes a whole different ballgame.
Yeah,
Now, back in the day, when it was required that everyone attend a town meeting, that would make more sense, that you would have that go before the legislative body. All right, the last 2 articles, because I know we're running these are not for us as well. But I will read the last 2. Not gonna call for anything special on these, so we can wrap up our meeting tonight. Article 15, amendment of the tax cap, use of July Northeast Region Consumer Price Index and I'm gonna just clarify, I know, because I get ready to read this, right now it's January to December. By the time half the stuff comes about, we're already past it, so they're trying to put this in the mid-year. So, shall we amend the tax cap adopted by the town meeting, Article 24, on March 10, 2020, to replace the adopted January to January Consumer Price Index with a July to July Consumer Price Index percentage increase as follows? Or B, the percentage by which the U.S. Consumer Price Index, all urban consumers of the Northeast, published by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the index, as of the month of July of each year increased, if any, over the index of the month of July, the immediate preceding year. And this requires a 3/5 majority vote because we already have a tax cap that showed it from January to January. So it has to be a 60% vote. Okay, and the last article is a petition warrant article. Speaking of paving from earlier, to see if the town will raise to appropriate the sum of $140,000 per year over a period of 4 years for incremental paving of the Class 5 portion of Bowling Road, commencing at the New Hampshire Route 125 entrance and continuing for approximately 1 3/10 of a mile. Why we got one, okay, that'll need to be adjusted a little. The next little thing in the bracket needs to be fixed, that's all.
Well, that's, down where we got it.
Yeah, I know. Each increment consists of 1,500 feet. The estimated cost of each increment is due to, prior to having the necessity to remove the underlying soft soils and establish an adequate roadbed with various layers of appropriately sized aggregate. The condition of this road during spring thaw and during heavy rains is such that it constitutes safety hazards to the residents, their vehicles, and their health. Emergency vehicles would have difficulty accessing homes and in extreme conditions have to detour via Northeast Pond Road to gain access, thus causing lengthy delay in response to emergencies. And again, this is a petition article. Continuing on, we do have the tax rate estimation calculation for everyone to look at the back of this. Nothing for us to do at this point in time. But I wanna make mention of the fact that we've succeeded this year in doing something that we asked for back in July as well, just like we talked about with the school board. I thank the Board of Selectmen, I thank the department heads, and I really thank this committee for putting forth the effort to make sure that we come up with a budget that falls in under the default this year. Our next meeting will be to address this to the public at our public hearing on January 16th, starting at 9 a.m. I didn't put a specific time down for the school because I needed to figure out where we're at. If you figure out where we're at here, it's taken us approximately little over 2 hours to go through this. The public hearing last year did not, we ended up waiting 3 hours after we did the morning session, or 2 hours or so. We called everybody, I mean, yes.
So you can have the timing back to back, or like 9 and 10, and then just recess the second public hearing.
Oh, I know, what I'm trying to do is I haven't set, that's kind of what I wanted to discuss. I didn't set a specific time. But again, and if we do that, that's kind of where we need to do. I've got the school board here to be able to figure that part out. I was thinking about the 9 o'clock start and 10:30 start for the school, but without having to post that, it doesn't have to be posted officially. But that way you guys don't, I mean, you're gonna be there anyways, and Doug, I know you've come to the portion of it, but anyone else that wants to attend that piece, 10:30 would probably be about the start time for the second piece.
I guess my question about that is, we're gonna be having it at the town hall?
Yes.
And that still is okay, that
Yes.
we can have?
At this point, it is, yes.
But we cannot have public in there.
We can have you can have people in the other room.
Yeah, there's about 14,
Yeah, go ahead.
there's room for about 14, 15 people in the actual chambers itself, being socially distanced and masked. And if you do the overflow into the lobby, we've gotten 8 to 10 people into the lobby with the television.
With the television. Yep. Plus, the real key is we can't live stream here, we can live stream there, and
If it works.
no, we've got some solutions somewhat from Steve, I know we're working on it to make sure that we can do that, but
Okay, no,
Fingers crossed.
My concern.
obviously, but yes, that's the intent right now.
Okay, and this is not like the actual deliberative session?
No, this is not the this is the mandatory budget hearing we have to have before the deliberative session, yes.
Okay,
Go ahead, Peggy, it's,
all right, yeah, before we leave, I just have
yeah, I wasn't
one
gonna leave yet, so,
quick question.
yep.
You had mentioned earlier, Ernie, about the paving. The reason that amount was put in there was to stay below the cap. And that's because we're actually asking for money. Everything else is coming from the surplus. So that doesn't have anything to do with any tax cap, correct? Okay, good, thank you, that's all I wanted to know. Just clarification.
Okay, so the only thing I've got right now is showing that our meeting's at 9 AM on the 16th. I have not set a meeting past that, because we don't know what's gonna happen in case it carries over. But I would still expect that, I mean, we need to find out what's gonna happen as far as the deliberative session out there and where we go from here. We have a regular meeting that we would normally have towards the end of January. We'll discuss that at the public hearing, because we're not doing minutes tonight. This is a special meeting just dealing with the warrants. So, that makes sense. We'll talk at the end of the public hearing as to whether or not we're gonna hold our next regular meeting coming up. All right, any comments from anyone? Doug, you got anything to add tonight? Okay, anybody else got anything? Larry, is that, yes?
Okay, I will do one, I'll come more to the microphone, which is, I just missed, Pearl Harbor. I was here November 22nd, 63. I was here December 9th. And this is a terrible week. I've been here January 6th as well. And just to thank us all here for the courtesy and goodwill of our common civil effort and different opinions. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, and I mean, I want to thank, like I said, I want to thank everyone in here. This has been a stressful year. I'm not talking politically either. I'm talking about stressful year with everything from the pandemic on through. We get started late, and we've still been able to get things done in a very timely manner.
The ink is not dry.
The ink's not dry. No, I'm saying we've been able to. Nope, not jumping in that. I'm saying, but what we've done to get here has been done in a timely manner. We're not done. Once we present things at the public hearing, then we still got our work cut out, and I think what I plan on doing is not scrambling like we did last year to get the MS7 and MS737 signed.
That was gonna be my.
That would be that's what I want to plan our meeting for, because last year did not work out well, as people know, having to scramble and run around to try to get the signatures. So that's what we'll talk about on the 16th, because we'll have everything pretty much ironed out. We'll get the town and the school paperwork to sign.
No, I would think that Joanne's gonna do the MS737 for us.
I would expect Joanne to do that, and then the MS7 coming from school, so, yes.
School does it.
That would all,
Because
Right.
they're-
I don't know, we have MS-45, MS-32.
Yeah, but the MS7 is for the budget committee to sign the budget, and that is, that's to get it ready for the initial signature for the deliberative session.
Yeah, that has to
And
be
that's what
posted.
goes to the
Right, we
DRA.
have to get that posted, that's the reason. But like I said, I want to make sure we do that at a meeting rather than say, everybody run around, because if the town hall's closed, I can't put the thing in there saying, except for appointments, I can't say go to the town hall and try to get it signed. So like I said, that's what I want to be able to set up. So we'll be going forward with that part of it.
Excuse me, I have a plan.
Yes,
You get them all together, you get them, and then you just go to everybody's house.
yep.
Make sure you.
Trust me, I'm gonna tell you, I've thought of that one too. But I want to try to make sure we can do this. What's that, you want to run around and yeah.
I did that.
Just gotta have, yes, you have done it, because we've gotten the signatures that way in the past. All right, with that in mind, I will entertain a motion.
Huh.
Who's got,
I am.
Danielle's making the motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye, thank you, guys.